Oh, why hello there. I did not know I was going to have company today. Well, since you're here, might as well talk about the New York Giants 2026 outlook from my perspective. First off, I want to do a little fit check. So, for the shirt, the jersey, we got a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1984 television show jersey. And I got a blue hat on because we're doing the Giants because I don't like them enough to wear their jersey, so I got them in the back. Two Saquon jerseys. I got a Philly one, the New York one. It's the only Giants jersey I have. I'm a jersey collector, you know. So we're going to start with the offense. And looking at this offense on paper, I'm not a huge fan. So we'll start with quarterback. Jackson Dart. I mean, yeah, last year he showed his flashes. He looked good in games. When it comes to him, though, I am very worried about him protecting himself. He needs to learn how to slide. And sometimes he'll throw a ball. Like, I was looking at some film earlier, and sometimes he'll just throw the ball, just to throw it. He won't go through his progressions, and he'll kind of force it. I will say he is good at limiting his turnovers. He did not throw a lot of interceptions in the games he played last year, nor did he fumble the ball. He is very good with protecting the ball. Now, looking at the running back room, I actually really like this running back room. I got Cam Scatterboo. Now, Cam last year, he looked really good when he was healthy, but he is coming off that really bad knee injury. And I do worry for that. I do worry that he won't be the same as he was. I know, second-year player already. But also I worry about his health. Like, that's a pretty serious injury. He could re-injure that. But then behind you got Tyrone Tracy Jr. And in his rookie year, he had 1,000 rushing yards. And I think he is a really explosive back. I like Tyrone Tracy Jr. And honestly, I do like him more than Cam Scatterboo. But I see the upside of both. And I think that is a great running back room. And I like that John Harbaugh said that he's going to try to do a running back committee. And then I think they have one of the best third-string backs in the league with Derek Stingley. Oh, I'm sorry. Devin Singletary. Derek Stingley's a corner. Devin Singletary, who is decent in Buffalo, pretty good in Houston. Hasn't been good in the Giants, but he's a third-string guy. And I think that is one of the best running back rooms in the league. But now where it gets rough. Looking at the wide receivers. First off, we have Malik Neighbors. And I'm rooting for Malik Neighbors. Coming out of the draft, I was really looking forward to him as a prospect. I was disappointed when he went to the Giants. But I think that's a place that fits him well. So, I mean, his injury timeline's a bit confusing. I don't know if he'll be back week 1. I know a lot of people don't. So if he's not back, then looking at the rest of this receiving room, it's not good. Darius Slayton, Darnell Mooney, Calvin Austin, OBJ, and Malachi Fields. I'm looking at projected starters right now. Yeah, like, this is not a good receiving room. You never want to have Darius Slayton as your number 2. Especially, he might be the one for the start of the season. But then I really do like this tight end room. Theo Johnson and Isaiah Likely together, I love that tight end room. Obviously, we have seen Isaiah Likely's production as a receiving tight end. I'd like to see a little bit more from him blocking, but he's looked really good in Baltimore. So I like that. I do really like that signing. And then Theo Johnson, another really good receiving tight end who was really good last year for them. Well, he was good for them. And then the O-line. Okay, first off, we'll call a spade a spade. Andrew Thomas got to stay healthy. He is a really good tackle when he can stay on the field, but he struggles to stay on the field. Like, that's undeniable. And honestly, the rest of the line's a bit underwhelming. I mean, of course, you got Francis Marinoga. I'm sorry if I said his name wrong. The rookie, I'm intrigued to watch him. I like that draft pick. I knew that was a little controversial, but I actually really did like that draft pick. And that is a good way to set Dart up for success. Looking at the defense, again, this is just all on paper. I know general consensus is this is going to be a pretty good defense. And when you look at it, you got Brian Burns, dog. Absolute dog. DJ Reader is your D-tackle 1. Could be better, could be worse. Obviously, they lost Dexter Lawrence. We'll get into that in a bit. For the cut, had to sneeze. Darius Alexander, could be a worse edge there. And then Shelby Harris on the other side. Yikes, that D-line I'm not too intrigued with outside of Brian Burns. DJ Reader is a good guy to have on that line, but me personally, I wouldn't want him as my D-tackle one. And then where I like to look at the linebacking core. Arvell Reese, Tremaine Edmonds, Abdul Carter. Technically, Brian Burns is a linebacker as well. Paulson Adebo is a corner. I don't know why I brought him up. I am sorry. But obviously, Brian Burns and Abdul Carter will be on the edge. And Abdul Carter, I know he didn't have the stats last season to show, but he was really good. He had a great pressure season for a rookie. And then, of course, Brian Burns just had a phenomenal season with 18 sacks. So when you put those two on the edge, I do like your D-line a lot more. Now, Arvell Reese, I am so excited to watch. Obviously, he was one of my top prospects in this year's draft. He was one of everybody's. I do think he is a very boom-a-bust player. Like, I could see him being a bust. I hope he's not. I hope he is a phenomenal pick, which I do believe he will be. And then Tremaine Edmonds. I'm not a big Tremaine Edmonds guy. Again, I was looking at some film earlier. Last year with the Bears, he was not all that. I think he really is carried off his name value. But you know what? That is a pretty good linebacking core. And, of course, D-line. Now, looking at the secondary, it is rough. So, we're going to start safety. Tyler Nubin and Javon Holland. Now, listen. Javon Holland obviously was a big free agent signing when he was in free agency coming over from Miami. He had an awful season last year. I hope he can have a bounce-back year because last year he was not good. And Tyler Nubin, he played pretty well for being a second-year guy. Late pick. Paulson Adebo at corner with Greg Newsome and Drew Phillips are the projected starters. They aren't. And, of course, I'll throw Dante Banks in there because he could also very well be a starter. I'm not high on any of those guys. Obviously, it's the same room as last year, and they weren't great. But Greg Newsome, I do think, is a very well-needed addition. I don't think he'll be necessarily great with this defense. I do think he'll be the best corner on the team, though. He is a very promising prospect. Yes, I know I'm doing this out of order from how I did the Philly Eagles. But I'm going to do their draft now because I love this draft, and I cannot wait to talk about it. Now, with their first pick, you go out and get Arvell Reese. Again, like I said, I believe he is a boom-or-bust player. That does not mean it's a bad pick. That is a great pick. Number 5, you take arguably the best linebacker on the board. And then, again, another pick I love, Francis Marinoga. Again, I'm sorry if I said the name wrong, but obviously you needed O-lineman help. You needed O-line and linebacker help, and you get 2 great draft picks, 2 great prospects early, top 10 in the draft. And then you get Colton Hood, and he was one of my top corners coming out of the draft, and I really hope we get to see him start this year because I am high on him. Do I think he's starting caliber yet? Probably not, but I was really high on him coming out of Tennessee. Now, Malachi Fields out of Notre Dame, I'm not very high on him. I do believe he could be a good wide receiver for the team. I think him and Jackson Dart could develop a really good connection, and New York needs that because outside of Malik Neighbors, who we aren't sure if he will be even ready for week 1, there's not a lot of guys that could really fill that wide receiver 2 role. Now, the rest of the draft, nothing great. I mean, a lot of good depth, like J.C. Davis, Jack Kelly. They're going to be good depth for them. I don't see them contributing much this year because if they do, it probably means someone ahead of them got hurt, and I don't hope for injuries here, so in the nicest way possible, I hope they don't get to see the field. I know I already did touch on this a little bit while I looked over their team, but we're looking at their additions. Some key additions, Tremaine Edmonds. Again, I don't think he's a necessarily great player, but it does help the defense where they needed it. You get Darnell Mooney, a wide receiver, and I've been saying it, I'm not high on Darnell Mooney. I'm not a Darnell Mooney guy. But they do need wide receivers. Isaiah Likely, I already glazed the heck out of that signing. I love that signing for them, and I really love it for Jackson Dart in particular. Greg Newsome, again, we already touched on that, and Jason Sanders. They really needed kicking help last year. I think it's good that they're overhauling special teams. But then we look at their key departures, and honestly, there's only two big ones in my opinion. Bobby Okereke and Wan'Dale Robinson. Oh my goodness, Wan'Dale Robinson. Obviously, they released Bobby, and Wan'Dale Robinson joined the Titans. And Wan'Dale Robinson leaving is a big problem because that's where their wide receiver problems come in. Last year, he stepped up big, having 1,000 receiving yards for them, while Malik Nabers was injured. He stepped up really big. It sucks that Jackson Dart didn't get any time to develop a connection with Malik Nabers since Malik Nabers got hurt in his first start. And losing Wan'Dale Robinson is not a good look for this offense. This offense does not look good without any weapons. I mean, Isaiah Likely right now is the top weapon because Malik Nabers is not healthy. Now, this is the part of the team where I am not hopeful for. The coaching hires. The biggest one, you bring in John Harbaugh. I am not a John Harbaugh believer. I feel throughout the Lamar era in Baltimore, he lost them so many winnable games. And the most recent one was the most recent Ravens game, where for some reason against the Steelers, they gave up on running the ball. Derrick Henry was gashing that defense. And instead, you're forcing a not 100% Lamar to just throw the ball. And yeah, Lamar threw a pick. Lamar fumbled. He wasn't healthy, and he was obviously not comfortable out there. Keep giving it to your back. And obviously, you cannot control a missed field goal. But if you run that ball with Derrick Henry earlier in the second half, I don't know why they gave up on him, then it's just, you win the game, and you make playoffs, and you have a chance to beat the Texans, who are not a good offense in the postseason whatsoever. And then this one is even worse, in my opinion. This signing right here ruins any expectations I have for the Giants. Matt Nagy is the offensive coordinator. Ooh, he made Patrick Mahomes look mortal. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes didn't have many weapons. Matt Nagy's in the exact same situation he was with Patrick Mahomes, but with Jackson Dart now. Jackson Dart does not have a lot of weapons. Yeah, Malik Nabers is better than anyone in Kansas City, but Malik Nabers isn't healthy. And if Mahomes couldn't really succeed in that offense, yeah, I know Mahomes got 2 rings with him. That was not Matt Nagy, though. That was Baggs' defense and Mahomes. I hate this signing. Honestly, going before that signing, I really liked the Giants' offseason. But that signing alone makes me hate it. And overall, I'm going to give this offseason for them a B, though. Because outside of the coaching hires, I thought it was really good. I thought they did good in free agency with the money they had. I really like their draft. Now I look at their schedule, and I don't have them winning a lot of games. Again, I'm not going to go through the whole schedule with you, just like I didn't with the Eagles. But looking at their schedule, week 1, they're at the Cowboys. Oh, so they're home against the Cowboys. And then week 2, they're against the Rams. Away. Now, week 1, I could see it going either way. I could see them either beating the Cowboys or the Cowboys beating them. I think that game is a coin flip. But I'm going to give it to the Cowboys. And then I think the Rams steamroll them. So immediately they start out 0-2, but they do get a good break 3 games. Titans and Cardinals at home, those should be wins. And then you get the Commanders. Again, that could go either way. But then you're looking at some other games on this schedule. The Texans, Jaguars, the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Lions. Those are all games that I don't think they really have a chance of winning. I think they could beat the Lions. If the Jaguars are like they were last year, I don't see them doing that. I cannot see them beating the Seahawks, maybe the Niners. I will say I'll give them some grace. I think they split with the Cowboys. I think they split with the Commanders. And I think they could either split or sweep the Eagles. And the reason I say sweep the Eagles, don't come at me, is because they play the Eagles week 18. So the Eagles will probably be resting their starters, assuming they continue how good they've been. And week 9, they play them coming out of the bye. I think the Giants just have a really good advantage over the 2 games that they play against the Eagles. Now, for the floor for this team, I could see it being 4-13. I think they have another rough year. But I could also see them going 10-7. But my prediction is that they will go 7-10, which is the best record they've had in a while. But the truth is, this is a very hard schedule. Yeah, I like their off-season moves and their draft, but this schedule is not a fourth-place schedule. Like, I look at this schedule, and I think the Giants won the division last year. Because this is a ridiculous schedule. I would argue this schedule is harder than the Eagles' schedule. When you have to play the NFC West, and then you also have to play the AFC South, who has two of the best defenses last year, and then another two of the best defenses last year in the West of the NFC. I hate this schedule, and I don't know what they did to deserve this schedule, but I predict that they will go 7-10 and miss playoffs again, which sucks. I know this video was a lot shorter than the Eagles one, but that's for two reasons. One, I think the Eagles are a more polarizing team than the Giants because the Eagles had a really up and down season. Well, honestly, the Giants season looked pretty good from what they were coming off of the prior years. And I think they do build off that momentum, but I don't think they are playoff caliber yet, especially because of that schedule. That schedule is ridiculous. But to give you guys a little heads up into the future, I'm going to try to keep videos shorter than the Eagles ones. But if I do get a polarizing team, which we'll talk about more, like the Lions is one, I'll give you a hint. And for the upcoming videos, the next video will be the Cowboys. And then the Commanders. I'm going to do it division by division. So we're going to start with the NFC East, obviously, because that's what we are. And then we'll go to the AFC East. And we'll probably start with the Dolphins and Bills. And I have not decided what's after that, but I'm going to try to release these every day or so. And in the back, I'm going to try to have, if I have someone, either a player that used to be on the team or a player that's currently on the team, I'm going to try to throw their jersey up there. That's why Saquon's up there today. And remember, spread some positivity. I love you all. And to my 3 viewers, have a phenomenal NFL season this year. I hope your team does well.